Today in the show we have Syrup, the new institutional DeFi platform from Maple Finance, the partnership between Gnosis Pay and Visa, and the partnership between Upland and the Sandbox, trading land in the Metaverse, and so much more. I'm your host, Mauricio Magaldi, and this is Blockdrops, your weekly digest on blockchain for business. These news are not a form of endorsement, sponsorship, or encouragement for consumption and are meant for educational purposes only. In the first drop today, we're back to talk about DeFi and evolutions in DeFi that are being prompted by the current blue chip DeFi protocols that we've covered many times. So last week we spoke about the MakerDAO Endgame, and this week we're covering Maple Finance. Maple Finance has been in the game for quite a while, and recently they announced Syrup. Yes, it's a pun with maple syrup, of course. Syrup is their new institutional aimed platform where institutions will be able to deposit their USDC stablecoins in the vaults, and they'll receive liquidity provision tokens called Syrup USDC, and they'll earn yield by the counterpart side of this operation is lending that is collateralized by other digital assets such as Ethereum cryptocurrencies. So Maple is aiming, as many of these other DeFi protocols, starting to aim at institutional players coming into crypto, as we've seen recently with the announcement of the Bitcoin spot ETFs and the preliminary approval of the Ethereum spot ETFs in the US. Institutional money that is looking for better yield with a reasonable amount of risk is starting to pour into the crypto space, which in turn makes the space more interesting. And obviously these more, and I don't want to say traditional, but now classic DeFi protocols that have been around for the longer time have the infrastructure and the track record to capture that influx of capital. So the goal of the Syrup is to enable yield for institutional investors to the tune of up to 15% on an annual basis when depositing the USDC. Syrup also has a DRIPS. DRIPS is a program for early adopters. These DRIPS will be assigned to the depositors of USDC that come in the onboarding of the early stages of the protocol, and obviously this will turn into rewards later. On top of all of these changes, in this particular introduction of DRIPS, Maple is also replacing their governance token, the MPL, which was the token that it's currently being used to govern the platform. It will be replaced by Syrup 1-to-1 with no further dilution for token holders. And Syrup will be also awarded to users who will be earning DRIPS as part of the early users program. So if you're an early user, meaning you're an institutional investor that is providing liquidity to Syrup in the early program, you're going to get DRIPS, and then these DRIPS are going to be converted into the Syrup token so you can help govern the protocol going forward. There's a whole program that Maple has put together to welcome new participants. It's going to be interesting to see how this evolves, because again, institutional money is the next frontier that crypto is attracting. It is interesting to see how the crypto natives are tackling that. So also, according to the announcement, they will have webinars and X spaces and whatnot. So interesting angle in which Maple is welcoming these users. According to Joe Flanagan, who's one of the co-founders of Maple Finance, he says that syrup will unlock yield opportunities that don't exist and help to democratize institutional private credit. And we are broadening the DeFi offer, end quote. So yeah, absolutely on point. I think as we've seen with MakerDAO, Maple, I bet we're going to see with more DeFi protocols being not repurposed, but maybe pivoting more towards institutional investors as things get clearer. And that's not a bad thing. In the second drop today, we're going to cover the newly announced partnership between Gnosis Pay and Visa, connecting traditional payments with Web3. If you don't know, Visa is one of the largest cards, payments, issuers, processors, and the whole stack within payments, and has been doing a lot in crypto as they realize that crypto is the new rails. So, as most of you know, I've shared co-hosting duties on Blockchain Insider with Kai Sheffield, the head of crypto at Visa. So, not surprisingly, they are back again being featured on Blockdrops now with this new partnership with Gnosis Pay. So this will allow users and entities to benefit from Gnosis Pay's Web3 infrastructure while allowing users to actually use their debit cards as they would otherwise use, but now consuming from their crypto balances. So very interesting to see this. For the business partners, they have a little bit more impact. So if you're a traditional finance entity, you get the opportunity to use blockchain, get new solutions, maybe build new stuff on top of the Gnosis chain infrastructure, and they can also benefit from a wealth of features for better compliance practices because they're going to use the Gnosis chain. There's more transparency, as we all know. The digital payments are more efficient. It allows them to track source of funds and movement of funds across different addresses, across different participants, obviously improving the capability of monitoring money laundering and other compliance requirements. This obviously also allows users to use their cards as they are accustomed to, and the merchants to have their funds cleared in near real time within Gnosis Pay infrastructure. This is by no means first partnership that Visa announced. Visa is heavily using USDC in other instances, was probably one of the first big companies to um, go into USDC with Solana, and also to integrate with Solana Pay. So this is not, and it's not going to be less. I think it's now clear that Visa has a crypto strategy that probably is unmatched in traditional finance at this stage. And according to the announcement, they will continue. I'm going to quote Kai Sheffield, again, head of crypto at Visa, and I quote, "Our long-standing strategy and focus in crypto is to serve as a bridge, helping connect both platforms and new technologies emerging in the crypto ecosystem to develop the next generation of payment solutions. We look forward to continue our work with Gnosis Pay," end quote. And Marcos Nunes, who's a fellow Brazilian CEO of Gnosis Pay, commented the following here, I quote, "With global crypto users predicted to reach 1 billion in 2024, Gnosis Pay is increasing optionality for both service providers and cardholders, giving them the chance to pay their way. This new partnership with Visa brings us a step closer to achieving our goal of building the next generation of banking by creating an efficient, cost-effective global payment system that provides payment optionality for all," end quote. So there again, guys, I think we've been talking about this convergence and the transition between traditional finance and the DeFi world. Um, some people call it the DeFi mullet. I think that's a little bit 2002 for now, but it is a DeFi mullet for sure, because it's Visa at the merchant with the cards and the processing, and then at the back the Gnosis pay infrastructure, handling all of the information, all of the data, tracking and tracing, money movement. So not the last we're going to see from Visa for sure. And interesting to see Gnosis Pay coming in strong this year, having already shipped a first batch of Gnosis Pay cards back in February here in Europe. So more to come. And we're going to try and get both Kai and Marcos at some point on Block Talks to share more about what they're doing in this space. And in the last drop today, we're going to cover something that we haven't covered in probably a few months. Metaverses. Yes, metaverses are still a thing. They still run, they still exist, and they are coming back into the limelight with the apparent upcoming bull run. So if you don't know these, I'm going to give you a 10-second brief in each of these involved companies, the Sandbox and Upland. Both are part of the larger brand pool of Animoca brands. The Sandbox is a virtual world. It's decentralized and has its own digital economy, and have done a lot in the heyday of the metaverses with a big number of brands that you're all familiar with. Warner Music, Tony Hawk, Gucci, TV shows like The Walking Dead, artists like Snoop Dogg, brands like Adidas, Atari, and what have you. It's really massive, and at the moment they boast 40 million global installs on mobile phones. So they are ripe with creators and games in a decentralized platform. Very 3D. The Upland, on the other hand, it was launched in 2019 and is currently the leading mobile Web3 gaming platform. It's mapped to planet Earth in the metaverse and is building a digital open economy. They've done stuff with FIFA, with the NFL Players Association, the Stock Car Pro Series, UNICEF, and a bunch of others. And they're focusing on developing a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming per se. So very interesting to see these two brands coming together. But as you are, I also was asking myself, why, how, right? So we've spoken about interoperability of metaverses by leveraging assets from one metaverse into another. This is almost there. So the partnership is actually establishing a cross-pollination, as they say. So the Sandbox is going to have an upland headquarter on a 6x6 land. So the upland building on the Sandbox. And then the Sandbox will have a neighborhood within one of the cities in Upland. So they're going to be cross-pollinating, meaning that Sandbox will have its own presence on the Upland metaverse, and then the Upland will have their presence on the Sandbox metaverse. And they're going to launch it with a design competition. So the users on both platforms will be able to showcase creativity, talent. They're going to do all the bells and whistles to announce that, and that will allow users from one platform to experience the usability and also have access to the tokens and digital assets from the other across this, say, cross-pollination. This is just the initial phase to incentivize the participation and the experimentation between communities. And obviously, there will be airdrops. So the Sandbox tokens are the sand. So these will be made available for Upland users, and the Upland token land will be made available for the Sandbox users. So it's going to be also ripe with exclusive, premium NFTs from side to side. So that's going to be very interesting to see if you're a digital artist and you're interested in the metaverse and you kind of thought you lost the train. Maybe that's one way for you to kind of reconnect with this space, and very interesting to see. There are other stages in this partnership to come. So their initial timeline is going to be announced. There will be the kickoff design competition, but there's more events in gaming. And then imagine brands leveraging that across the two metaverses. I mean, this is immediately something that gaming companies should be aiming to to capture as an opportunity. These are two different infrastructures with two different communities, two different economics, and two different, look and feel. So it is probably something that brands and games will certainly benefit from. We're going to try and get Ney Neto from Upland to come to the show and talk more about what they're building and how the partnership came together, because this might be the one thing that reignites the passion for the metaverse in the next market cycle. In a week packed full of news, here's more. Circle launches in Brazil 2 partnerships, one with Nubank and another one with BTG Pactual. Moonpay announced a Web3 toolkit aimed for brands that are trying to break into the crypto space. Sonica and Brasil Bitcoin announced a partnership to launch an end-to-end tokenization platform. PayPal announced the launching of their USD stablecoin PYUSD on the Solana blockchain. Foxbit, the Brazilian crypto exchange, announced a prepaid card that allows users to pay with their balances in cryptocurrency. Crypto ISAC launches initiative to spearhead the ecosystem-wide security. Founders of this initiative include Aleo, Circle, Coinbase, Consensus, Avertus, Fireblocks, Hedera, Kraken, Off-Chain Labs, Red Balloon Security, Ribbit Capital, Solana Foundation, and Trail of Bits. And Immutable X is arriving in Brazil to boost the Web3 gaming adoption in the country. Catch us online. We're on Instagram at blockdropspodcast, on Twitter at blockdropspod or 0x Mauricio. We're on Lens at blockdrops.lens. We have a newsletter on LinkedIn. Write to us at blockdropspodcast@gmail.com, and you can listen to the Blockdrops podcast at Spotify, iColab, Faberbun Tech, and all of the other major streaming platforms. Yay! Shoutouts today to the people who share the links you will find in the episode notes: Ricardo Bonfim, Beto Berisha, Diego Borgo, Rita Martins, Alexandre Adolio, Kai Sheffield, Marcos Nunes, Kate Boscherel, José Fernandes da Ponte, Dante Disparte, Rodrigo Ikegaia, Nicky Descant, Michael Sholov, and Ney Neto. Don't forget to leave the ratings on your favorite player. This is all for today. Stay rare, stay weird. LFG.